Ladies and gentlemen, disrespect can feel deeply personal, but the truth is, it's a reflection of the other person's character, not your worth. The person being rude or dismissive is revealing their inability to show decency and kindness, not something about your value. It's essential to develop a mindset where you separate your identity from the opinions of others. Think of yourself as an unshakable mountain. No matter how harsh the winds of disrespect blow, they cannot change your foundation. In moments of disrespect, remind yourself, this says more about them than me. A strong sense of self-worth makes you resilient to such negativity. Disrespect is designed to provoke. A raised voice, sarcastic remarks, or dismissive gestures aim to elicit a reaction. But reacting impulsively only adds fuel to the fire. Instead, take a deep breath, pause, and maintain your composure. Silence can be a powerful response. It shows that you are not easily rattled and refuse to stoop to their level. A calm response in the face of disrespect often disarms the other person, leaving them to reflect on their behavior. Boundaries are a sign of self-respect and self-awareness. If someone continuously disrespects you, it's vital to communicate your limits assertively yet respectfully. You might say, I feel disrespected when you speak to me that way. I'd appreciate it if we could discuss this differently. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're being confrontational. It means you're prioritizing your mental and emotional health. Those who value and respect you will honor those boundaries. Reacting is impulsive. Responding is intentional. When faced with disrespect, focus on crafting your response thoughtfully. Avoid retaliating with similar disrespect. Instead, you can say, that comment seems unnecessary. Can we address this constructively? This shifts the dynamic from hostility to dialogue. Remember, controlling your response shows maturity and leaves no room for the other person to justify their behavior. Not every act of disrespect deserves your energy. Sometimes the most empowering choice is to walk away. This doesn't mean you're weak. It means you value your peace above unnecessary conflict. Whether it's a toxic relationship, workplace conflict, or social interaction, if the disrespect persists despite your best efforts, it's okay to remove yourself from the situation. Walking away is not giving up, it's choosing yourself. Sometimes understanding where the disrespect stems from can help you navigate it better. Is the person under stress? Are they projecting insecurities? While this doesn't excuse their behavior, it can provide context. Empathy doesn't mean accepting disrespect, but it helps you approach the situation with more understanding and less hostility. Disrespect often targets your vulnerabilities. Use it as fuel for personal growth rather than dwelling on it. If someone doubts your abilities, strive to prove them wrong, not for them, but for yourself. When you channel your energy into becoming the best version of yourself, the opinions of others diminish in significance. The ultimate response to disrespect is to show respect. This doesn't mean tolerating poor treatment, but demonstrating what dignified behavior looks like. By refusing to mirror their negativity, you model a standard of respect and integrity. Often this can inspire others to follow suit or reevaluate their actions. When someone disrespects you, the immediate reaction is often to question yourself. Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? Do I deserve this? These thoughts are common, but they are also a trap. Disrespect is rarely about the person being disrespected, it's about the one delivering it. Their behavior stems from their experiences, insecurities, or inability to manage their emotions. It's critical to remember that their words or actions do not define you. Consider this: if you have a clean mirror and someone throws dirt at it, does the dirt mean the mirror is inherently dirty? No. Similarly, your worth remains untouched by someone else's negative behavior. This shift in perspective is empowering because it frees you from internalizing the actions of others. It's equally important to foster a strong sense of self-worth. Confidence in who you are shields you from the impact of disrespect. Develop habits that reinforce your value. Practice affirmations, reflect on your achievements, and surround yourself with supportive people who uplift you. In moments of disrespect, pause and ask yourself, what does this really say about me? The answer is often, nothing. Respect isn't about who you are, it's about who they choose to be. Instead of letting their negativity seep into your mindset, let it bounce off the solid wall of self-respect you've built. This perspective also helps you approach the situation with compassion instead of resentment. You begin to see the disrespectful person as someone struggling with their battles, not as someone intentionally trying to harm you. While this doesn't excuse their behavior, it helps you preserve your peace. Ultimately, understanding that disrespect reflects character, not worth, empowers you to rise above it. You don't need validation from those who can't offer it, and you don't need to engage in their negativity. Your self-respect is your armor, and with it, you can stand tall in the face of any storm. Disrespect often arrives like an uninvited storm, loud, sudden, and unsettling. It's designed to provoke a reaction, to pull you into its chaotic energy. But here's the truth. Reacting impulsively only makes the storm stronger. The moment you lose your composure, you hand over your power to the person disrespecting you. Staying calm and collected, however, allows you to take control of the situation. Imagine someone shouting at you in a public place. The natural response might be to raise your voice in return, defend yourself, or retaliate. But what does that achieve? It turns you into a participant in their chaos. Instead, picture yourself pausing, breathing deeply, and responding with a steady tone, or choosing not to respond at all. This simple act of self-restraint can be profoundly disarming. Calmness is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of immense strength. It shows that you are in control of your emotions and cannot be easily manipulated. When you remain composed, the disrespectful person often realizes that their tactics aren't working. They might even feel embarrassed by their own behavior. Developing this level of emotional control requires practice. Begin by training yourself to pause before reacting in any emotionally charged situation. This pause, no matter how brief, creates a gap between stimulus and response, a moment where you can choose how to act rather than reacting on impulse. Techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, and visualization can help you master this skill over time. Additionally, staying calm allows you to see the situation with clarity. When emotions run high, it's easy to misinterpret words, assign intentions, or escalate the conflict unnecessarily. A calm mind, however, can discern whether the disrespect was intentional, a misunderstanding, or simply a reflection of the other person's stress or frustrations. Ultimately, your calmness serves as an anchor, not only for you but also for the environment around you. It sets a tone of stability, signaling that you will not be dragged into the storm of negativity. Remember, calmness is a choice to prioritize your peace, dignity, and self-control above all else. Disrespect often persists because it goes unchecked. Many people tolerate it out of fear of confrontation or in hopes that it will simply stop on its own. However, disrespect has a way of growing when left unaddressed. That's where setting clear boundaries becomes essential. It's not just about telling someone to stop, it's about defining how you expect to be treated and standing firm in your resolve. Boundaries are a reflection of self-respect. They communicate to others, this is what I will accept, and this is what I won't. Think of boundaries as the protective walls of a castle. Without them, anyone can enter and take whatever they please. With strong, clear walls, however, you control who enters your space and how they behave while they're there. Let's consider an example. If a colleague frequently interrupts you in meetings or dismisses your ideas, you might feel frustrated and devalued. Ignoring it won't solve the problem. It will likely encourage them to continue. Instead, you could address it calmly but firmly, saying, "I've noticed that you interrupt me during discussions. I'd appreciate it if you could let me finish my points before responding." This statement is clear, respectful, and assertive. The challenge with setting boundaries is that it often requires courage. Some people may react negatively when their behavior is called out. They might accuse you of being overly sensitive or try to dismiss your concerns. This is where you must stand firm. Remember, your boundaries are not up for debate. They are non-negotiable standards you set for your well-being. It's also important to enforce boundaries consistently. If someone crosses the line after you've clearly communicated it, you must address it again, or take further action. For instance, if a friend repeatedly makes hurtful jokes despite your objections, you may need to distance yourself from them to protect your peace of mind. Boundaries also apply to your internal relationship with yourself. Sometimes, we tolerate disrespect because we don't believe we deserve better. This is where self-awareness comes in. Take the time to evaluate your own self-worth and recognize that you have every right to demand respect. In the end, setting boundaries is an act of self-love and empowerment. It teaches others how to treat you and ensures that your mental and emotional well-being remain a priority. By standing firm in your boundaries, you not only protect yourself from disrespect, but also inspire others to adopt a more respectful approach in their interactions. The difference between reacting and responding may seem subtle, but in moments of disrespect, it's transformative. Reacting is impulsive, emotional, and often fueled by anger or frustration. It's when you snap back with harsh words, raise your voice, or let the moment dictate your behavior. Responding, on the other hand, is measured, thoughtful, and intentional. It's about taking control of the situation, rather than letting the situation control you. Picture this: someone makes a rude comment about your appearance. The knee-jerk reaction might be to lash out, fire back with an equally cutting remark, or even walk away in anger. While these reactions are understandable, they often escalate the tension or leave you feeling worse. Responding, however, involves pausing, assessing the situation, and choosing a course of action that aligns with your values and self-respect. For instance, you might reply calmly, "I'm not sure why you felt the need to say that, but I'd appreciate it if we could keep our conversation respectful." This response does several things. It calls attention to the disrespect without mirroring it. It puts the focus back on the other person's behavior, prompting them to reflect. It maintains your dignity and composure. Responding requires emotional discipline, and like any skill, it takes practice to develop. Start by mastering the art of the pause. When faced with disrespect, give yourself a moment to process what's happening. Count to 5 in your head, take a deep breath, or even excuse yourself momentarily if needed. This pause creates a buffer between the initial sting of the disrespect and your next move. Another powerful tool is reframing. Instead of seeing the disrespect as a personal attack, view it as a challenge to demonstrate your strength and self-control. Ask yourself, what response here would make me proud of how I handled this situation? Often this mindset shift alone can turn an emotional reaction into a thoughtful response. It's also important to remember that not every situation requires a verbal response. Sometimes, silence speaks volumes. If the disrespect is blatant but not worth engaging with, a calm, silent acknowledgement, such as a raised eyebrow or a knowing look, can convey your disapproval without escalating the matter. In the end, responding rather than reacting is a way of reclaiming your power. It shows that you are not a puppet to others' negativity, and that you refuse to let disrespect derail your peace. By choosing your response carefully, you set the tone for the interaction and uphold your self-respect, no matter the circumstances. Walking away is one of the most misunderstood responses to disrespect. Some see it as a sign of weakness or surrender, but in truth, it's often the strongest and most self-empowering choice you can make. When faced with persistent disrespect, removing yourself from the situation can be a bold declaration that your peace, dignity, and self-worth are non-negotiable. Consider this: every confrontation, argument, or negative interaction demands your time and energy. These are finite resources, and wasting them on someone who refuses to respect you is a disservice to yourself. Walking away is not about avoiding conflict, it's about protecting what truly matters: your well-being and mental clarity. Imagine you're in a toxic relationship where the other person consistently belittles you. You've tried addressing the behavior, setting boundaries, and fostering open communication, but nothing changes. At this point, walking away isn't giving up, it's choosing to prioritize your happiness and mental health over a cycle of negativity. Walking away can also be situational. For instance, during a heated argument where emotions are running high, stepping away to cool off can prevent further escalation.
It's a mature way of saying, I value this conversation, but I refuse to engage in it under these conditions. When you return, you're likely to have a clearer perspective and a greater ability to address the issue constructively. The act of walking away also sends a powerful message to the person disrespecting you. It shows them that their behavior will not be tolerated and that you won't be drawn into their drama. Often, this can lead them to reconsider their actions and in some cases even apologize. However, walking away doesn't always have to be permanent. In professional settings or family dynamics, completely cutting ties may not be feasible. In such cases, walking away might mean reducing interactions or maintaining a strictly professional tone. It's about creating enough distance to shield yourself from ongoing harm. It's important to remember that walking away requires courage. Society often glorifies standing your ground and fighting every battle, but not all battles are worth fighting. Walking away is a conscious choice to disengage from what doesn't serve you, to protect your energy, and to focus on what truly matters. In moments where you feel compelled to stay and prove a point, ask yourself, what will this accomplish? Will this enhance my peace, or will it drain me further? If the answer leans toward the latter, walking away is the answer. Ultimately, walking away is a form of self-respect. It's a reminder that you have the power to decide where your energy goes and what kind of interactions you allow in your life. It's not about them, it's about you, and choosing yourself will always be the right decision.
Disrespect often feels like a personal attack, but more often than not, it stems from the other person's internal struggles rather than anything you've done. Taking the time to reflect on the source of disrespect can give you a new perspective, helping you respond with clarity and composure rather than anger or hurt. Ask yourself, why might this person be acting this way? Are they under stress, dealing with insecurities, struggling with issues unrelated to me? For instance, a boss snapping at you might not be about your performance, but could reflect the pressure they're facing to meet deadlines. A friend making an insensitive comment might not mean they're malicious, but rather that they're projecting their insecurities. Reflecting on the source doesn't excuse the behavior. It's not a free pass for disrespect, but it allows you to approach the situation with empathy instead of hostility. Empathy helps you maintain your composure and creates an opportunity to address the issue constructively. For example, instead of reacting defensively to a colleague's rude tone, you could say, "You seem stressed. Is there something I can help with?" This shifts the dynamic from confrontation to collaboration. Another important aspect of reflection is identifying patterns. Is this person habitually disrespectful, or is this behavior out of character? A one-off instance might warrant a different response than repeated disrespect. For a habitual offender, you might decide to set firmer boundaries or limit interactions altogether. Reflection also involves looking inward. Ask yourself, why is this behavior bothering me? Does it touch on a personal insecurity or trigger past experiences? Understanding your emotional reaction can help you manage it more effectively. For example, if someone dismisses your ideas in a meeting, you might feel undervalued because of past experiences where your voice wasn't heard. Recognizing this connection can help you address the current situation without letting old wounds dictate your response. It's also crucial to reflect on the environment. Sometimes disrespect is systemic rather than personal. Workplace cultures, societal norms, or group dynamics can foster disrespectful behaviors. In such cases, the solution might require addressing the broader context rather than focusing solely on individual interactions. Ultimately, reflecting on the source of disrespect equips you with insight and perspective. It transforms a reactive mindset into a proactive one, allowing you to handle the situation with grace and purpose. It reminds you that while you can't always control others' actions, you can always control your understanding and response. This thoughtful approach helps you rise above the negativity, reinforcing your strength and integrity in the face of disrespect. Disrespect has a way of making us doubt ourselves. A harsh comment, a dismissive gesture, or an unkind word can stick with us, pulling our focus away from what truly matters. But here's the truth: someone else's opinion of you is not your reality. Their disrespect reflects their perspective, not your potential. The best response is to redirect your energy from their negativity to your growth. When you focus on your growth, you shift the narrative. Instead of letting disrespect define your worth, you use it as fuel to become a better version of yourself. Consider it a challenge. If someone doubts your abilities, channel your energy into proving not to them but to yourself what you're capable of. Let their underestimation ignite your ambition. Think of successful individuals throughout history, authors who faced rejections, entrepreneurs who were told their ideas wouldn't work, or artists who were criticized harshly. They didn't let disrespect or doubt stop them. They used it as motivation to refine their craft, learn from their failures, and achieve greatness. Focusing on your growth also means setting clear, actionable goals. What do you want to achieve? What skills do you want to develop? What passions do you want to pursue? Disrespect can be a distraction, but a clear sense of purpose keeps you on track. Each step forward, no matter how small, builds confidence and resilience, making the opinions of others less significant. Additionally, prioritize surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. The company you keep plays a crucial role in your growth. Spend time with those who see your potential and encourage your dreams. Their positivity will help drown out the negativity from those who choose to disrespect you. This mindset doesn't mean ignoring constructive criticism. Growth often comes from feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. The key is to differentiate between feedback that's meant to help you and disrespect that's meant to hurt you. Accept the former with humility and discard the latter without hesitation. Focusing on your growth also helps you cultivate inner peace. When you're committed to becoming the best version of yourself, the opinions of others lose their power. You realize that your value doesn't come from external validation but from your journey, effort, and progress. In the end, the greatest triumph over disrespect is success. Not success measured by society's standards, but success defined by your fulfillment, happiness, and growth. So whenever you encounter disrespect, let it remind you of your resilience. Redirect your energy from their negativity to your potential, and watch yourself rise far above their limited perspective. When faced with disrespect, the most powerful and dignified response you can give is to lead by example. It's easy to mirror negativity with negativity, to retaliate with the same harshness you receive. However, true strength lies in choosing respect, integrity, and kindness, even in the face of opposition. Leading by example means demonstrating the behavior you wish to see from others. If someone interrupts you rudely during a conversation, respond calmly and wait for your turn to speak instead of interrupting them back. If someone makes a cutting remark, reply with a thoughtful comment rather than a retort. Your actions set a standard of respect that others are compelled to notice and often emulate. This approach requires immense self-control. It's natural to feel anger or frustration when disrespected, and suppressing the urge to lash out can be challenging. But remember, responding with grace doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior, it means rising above it. You're not responding for their sake but for yours. By maintaining your composure, you protect your peace and preserve your dignity. Leading by example can also have a transformative effect on the environment around you. Disrespect often breeds more disrespect, creating a toxic cycle, but when you choose to act respectfully, you disrupt that cycle. Your behavior becomes a model for others, subtly encouraging them to adopt a similar approach. Consider the influence of leaders or role models you admire. They likely earned your respect not through retaliation or harshness, but through their ability to handle adversity with poise and principle. By embodying those qualities, you become a source of inspiration for those around you. Leading by example doesn't mean avoiding confrontation altogether. It's about addressing issues constructively. If someone disrespects you, you might say, "I value respectful communication and I hope we can maintain that moving forward." This approach acknowledges the issue while reinforcing the standard you expect. At times, your example may not immediately change the behavior of others. Some people may continue their disrespectful ways despite your best efforts. In such cases, remember that your example is not just for them, it's for you and anyone else observing.
Your consistent respectfulness solidifies your reputation as someone who values integrity and refuses to compromise on their principles. Ultimately, leading by example is the highest form of strength. It shows that you refuse to be defined or derailed by negativity. It's not just about handling disrespect, it's about creating an environment where respect becomes the norm, starting with you. By standing firm in your values and actions, you don't just respond to disrespect, you rise above it, inspiring others to do the same. Disrespect is an unfortunate reality in life, but it does not have to define you or dictate your path. You have the power to choose how you respond. Whether you set clear boundaries, walk away when necessary, or rise above negativity by leading with respect, every choice you make reflects your strength and character. Remember, your worth is not determined by someone else's inability to see it. Disrespect is a reflection of their struggles, not your shortcomings. By staying calm, reflecting on the source, and focusing on your growth, you prove that you are unshakable in the face of negativity. Each act of disrespect can be transformed into an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to demonstrate your resilience. When you refuse to let disrespect shake your confidence or derail your journey, you reclaim your power. So the next time you encounter disrespect, pause and remind yourself, this is my moment to show who I truly am. Handle it with dignity, respond with grace, and walk away if needed. Always choose your peace, your growth, and your self-respect over the noise of negativity. In a world that sometimes forgets the value of kindness and respect, be a beacon of both. Stand tall, hold firm, and let your actions speak louder than words. Because at the end of the day, how you handle disrespect isn't about them, it's about you. And you deserve nothing less than the best from yourself. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to let emotions take over. Anger, hurt, and frustration can cloud your judgment, pushing you to react in ways that don't align with your values. But every moment of disrespect is a test, a chance to decide who you are and how you will show up in the world. Will you let their negativity pull you down, or will you rise above it with grace and strength? The first thing to remember is that disrespect is rarely about you. It often comes from the insecurities, frustrations, or challenges of the person delivering it. Understanding this doesn't mean you accept or tolerate it, it simply means you don't let it become a reflection of your worth. Their inability to respect you does not make you unworthy of respect. Let's talk about power, your power. Disrespect is an attempt to rob you of it, to make you feel smaller, weaker, or less confident. But the truth is, no one can take your power unless you give it to them. Every time you remain calm in the face of disrespect, every time you set a boundary, every time you walk away from toxic energy, you are reclaiming your power. Boundaries are a key part of this. When you set boundaries, you are saying, I value myself enough to demand respect. Boundaries are not selfish or rude, they are necessary. Whether it's a colleague who constantly interrupts you, a friend who makes hurtful jokes, or a family member who dismisses your feelings, setting clear boundaries is a way of teaching others how you expect to be treated. But let's be honest, setting boundaries and maintaining your composure is not always easy. It takes practice, patience, and self-awareness. It requires you to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, and to choose your actions with intention. Yet it is in these moments of self-control that your true strength shines. And when disrespect becomes persistent or toxic, walking away is sometimes the best choice. This doesn't mean you're running away or giving up. Walking away is an act of courage. It's saying, I deserve better, and I will not accept less. Life is too short to spend it surrounded by people who do not value you or your peace. While it's important to address disrespect, it's equally important not to dwell on it. Don't let someone's inability to see your value distract you from your goals. Focus on your growth. Channel your energy into becoming the best version of yourself. Let their negativity fuel your determination to rise higher. And above all, lead by example. Show respect even when it isn't given to you. This isn't about pleasing others or proving anything to them. It's about living in alignment with your values. When you respond to disrespect with respect, you take the higher road, setting a powerful example for those around you. Imagine a world where everyone chose to handle disrespect with grace, a world where we responded to negativity not with retaliation but with understanding, not with anger, but with strength. While we can't control the actions of others, we can control our own. By leading with integrity, we become agents of change, inspiring others to rise to the same standard. So as you move forward in life, carry this mindset with you. Disrespect does not define you, your response does. Choose to be the person who stays calm under pressure, who stands firm in their boundaries, and who rises above the pettiness of negativity. Choose to be the person who values their peace over their pride and their growth over someone else's opinion. Each encounter with disrespect is a crossroads. One path leads to anger, conflict, and regret. The other leads to strength, wisdom, and self-respect. The choice is always yours. Choose wisely, because at the end of the day, how you handle disrespect is not about them, it's about you. It's about your peace, your growth, and your values. And when you choose to rise above, to handle it with dignity and grace, you remind yourself and the world that respect starts with you. In every interaction, let your response reflect the incredible person you are. Let it show your strength, your wisdom, and your unwavering belief in your own worth, because you are worthy of respect, and the way you handle disrespect proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So the next time you're faced with disrespect, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered in this moment? Choose to be remembered as someone who stood tall, acted with integrity, and refused to let negativity define them. The power is in your hands. Use it to rise above, and in doing so you'll inspire others to do the same.